What's going on, fishing friends? Super excited to have CL Marshall from Tangier Sound Charters tonight do the lower Chesapeake Bay fishing report. But before we get to that, we are doing a prize for all four of our fishing reports this evening for $25 off a pair of Hook Optics sunglasses. At You have to go in and you can use your gift certificate at an optical galleria, but this right here is the last call. It's made for guys with really big heads like me. And I think they even make a guy like me look cool. I mean, that's hard to do. But, right? I mean, I look like a cross between the Terminator and Tom Cruise in these things. But yeah, so the prize for question of the night is $25 off a pair of Hook Optics. And that gift certificate can be redeemed at the Centerville store for an optical galleria. So ask an awesome question tonight. CL Marshall will choose the winner, and you can get your prize. But let's go ahead and bring in Captain Marshall. How you doing, sir?
Man, I am happy to be here, Grant. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, dude. I'm super excited to hear this story that you teased about this afternoon. I was like, man, if CL Marshall has a story, it's either some like boat ramp debacle or a whale almost sunk his boat.
A little bit of combination of both. Hey, before we get to that, just a couple things. When I had Route 90 Bridge yesterday, we did pick up a few rockfish there. Me and my buddy Jim had a piece of that. Was good. We did that casting artificials. They were in the deepest part of the channel there. That was good. Perch fishing continues to escalate over in my neck of the woods. And but so February the 28th, you kind of blend in with the background there with that shirt, Grant. You're kind of
camo.
You are camo, man.
I should maybe put my hands here so people can tell it's a human.
Yeah, so we had a great time up at the up in Annapolis at the Saltwater Fishing Expo. Had a great time there. Got to meet a lot of the folks from the TFC family. That was cool. A lot of people come by and said that a lot of people come by and commented on the show, Grant, and on how much they like following the different reports. So that was a good thing, and we're glad we went up there. So awesome. That was cool.
Good to hear.
So, yeah, it was good. So to the story, I know we only got a half hour, so I'll cut to it. February 28th marked the end of the Virginia sea bass season.
What day was that?
You hear me? That was we went on Sunday. We went on Sunday, and we left out of Chincoteague bright and early with anticipation of reaching our wreck about 48 miles off the coast. By 9 o'clock, we anticipated catching our bass relatively quick. We're fishing in 300 feet of water, and we did. We did catch our sea bass jigging on our artificials. We needed 60. We anticipated that we should be done by 12:30 or 1 o'clock. It took us till 1:45. We knew that we had a window to catch those in, and we also knew that it was going to be, the wind was going to turn southwest in the afternoon. Okay. We felt like we had to leave there by 1 in order to beat most of the wind, and we didn't. We stayed a little bit longer to catch our limit of fish. Then this whole talk is about safety. This is what it's about. So many times we go out on the bay, we go out on the ocean, and we just take a lot of stuff for granted. Well, this is an example of what can and did go wrong. Okay. We leave.
Strap in. Hang on. Let me strap in. Feels like it's going to be a doozy of a story. Uh-oh. Either I'm frozen or Captain Marshall's frozen. Anyone watching at home, let me know which one.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yeah.
All right, cool. So we leave, and we've got 48 odd miles to cover. The wind is switched.
To get back in?
Huh?
This is to get back in.
Yes.
Okay.
We are out of Chincoteague. The wind switched to southwest. The seas go to 4 to 6 pretty quick. So it's going to be nautical coming home. Okay. We travel about 4 miles. We lose an engine. When we lose the engine, the bow comes down. The first 3 waves that we encountered come across the bow and fill the boat with water.
When
Shit
you say
got
fill, how full?
the pork barbecue was floating in the cockpit. The coolers were floating in the cockpit. We're 40 miles off the beach. Okay.
What boat? What boat were you in? Were you in your Mako?
I was not. I was with one of my friends. I was in one of my friends' boats. So this happened, and here is the safety portion of it. I mean, this could happen to anybody. It could happen to you off Bloodsworth. It could happen off Tangier. It could happen anywhere when things go bad.
Yeah.
It was not any one thing, but it was a series of small things that could have added up to our demise. What was very crucial in us being able to get out of this situation is, number one, having the wherewithal to turn the bow into the seas, and get the bow up a little bit as we tried to ascertain what was wrong with the engine. The second thing that was very crucial to getting out of this mess and preventing it from getting any worse was the fact that we had an inReach, a satellite communicator. The things are cheap. I mean, they're $300. It sounds like a lot of money. Without it, I may not be here today.
Wow.
We were able to communicate through the inReach to our mechanic who was in to Thorns, to Philip Thorns. We were able to, at Thorns Marine or Phillips Marine, we were able to communicate with him, diagnose the problem on the engine, and realize that we didn't have the equipment to fix it. But that's okay. We still got one engine. We're easing in on that. So running on the one engine, we're burning twice the oil, twice the strain on that engine. That engine runs low on oil, right? You with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
We add oil to the reservoir. We get an air bubble inside and we add oil to the reservoir. The engine that we had starts overheating. We can't figure out why that engine's getting oil. Once again, on the inReach, talking to Philip Thorns. So we're talking to Philip, and Philip's like, hey, there's an air bubble in the line. Once again, we're able to, at this point, we use a trolling motor to turn the bow into the seas and keep us from getting swamped. Seas were building with the inReach and with Philip Thorne's knowledge. We were able to rectify the air bubble in the oil line, and we're able to get things moving again. We made Shankatig Inlet about 9:30, but let me tell you, when the boat filled with water and we were trying to evacuate the water, and we got out the survival suits, shit got real. Things got real quick, and I cannot stress to the folks that are listening to this thing tonight to take a second, go over your safety gear, make sure it's right. Go over your toolkit, make sure it's right. Make sure you got metric. Make sure you got the wrenches that you need. Make sure that your life jackets are up to snuff. Make sure you've got the flares. And if you don't have an inReach, my God, go get one, because that was very a crucial part of what we did. Yeah, we like to go fishing, love to go fishing, can't wait to go again. Went last night, gonna go tomorrow, but I want to be able to live to go another day, and I think everybody listening does as well. So I cannot stress the safety aspect of what we do enough. With all the charter captains that are out there and all the folks that you interview, I think we all sing out of the same hymnal that all we hope for is a safe return, and and I hope everybody takes a second to review their safety equipment, especially now at the beginning of the season when that water's cold, and maybe it'll help somebody down the road.
Hey, we'll talk about that in a second, because I don't think spending any time talking about safety on a boat is a waste of time. I will say that I really want to hammer down the point of what your captain did, what turning into the waves. Like it feels counterintuitive, right? It feels like you're running right into the monster. But if you don't do that, you will get swamped really fast. I was out with Lady C a couple years ago, and I mean, I had to do exactly that. That's the only way to get the water out of the boat.
It was, we were fortunate. We had in the boat we were in, we had 3 bilge pumps. They all were working. It all was great. But then as the day went on, we ran into something else, because of what we were doing, and it was very rough. I mean, we ran by autopilot for 2 hours. We couldn't see out of the windows because the waves blew up on us so much. Probably shouldn't have stayed that long, but they were some really nice sea bass we were catching. Man, they were up to 6 pounds. They were nice. But so we were wet, and it gets cold after dark, especially
Yep.
on the water, especially early March, late February. So once again, have the dry clothes, have the ditch bag, have your EPIRB, have the stuff. It sounds like it's a lot, and it sounds like it may not happen to you, but it happened to me. It happened to me Sunday, and I go a lot, and I'm very anal about my safety equipment. It's important. And it just proved that point proved itself again on Sunday. So I know this isn't your typical fishing report, but
No,
if
this
it
is
can help
good.
somebody, something I think is very important, especially as that water's cold, man. We're looking at 50-degree water. How long are you gonna last in that? 20 minutes? I don't know. Maybe not that
Not
long.
long. Not long. No, not at all. Especially with the seas as rough as they were. You're not going to last long.
Yep.
So let's talk about safety things. This time of year, it's a great time of year to check all of that stuff in your boat. So, what are some things that, we talked about a lot of them already. We talked about flares. We talked about life jackets. Um, keeping engine maintenance, uh, what are some things you can do to keep your engine running well so you'll lessen the chances of losing an engine when you're 40 miles out.
Yeah, I mean, 40 miles. It sounds like, oh my God, they're real far off there. That's no different than leaving Deal Island and fishing Tuxton River. So it's 40 miles in the boats that we have today is not that big of a stretch. I know some of the upper bay captains, they're finding themselves, running a lot further than that. I'm trying to find a good signal. They're running a lot further than that on a daily basis, catching rockfish.
Yeah.
Especially in the spring. Some of those upper bay guys that you talk to on a regular basis, they move a lot, and they're in the middle of the bay. And so just want to kind of, that's a little bit different for the fishing report. Probably wasn't what you were expecting, but
No, it's good stuff. Good
I
stuff.
tell you, look, when you start handing out survival suits, I mean, it's pretty real. So,
Yeah.
and that's where we were. But fortunately, we had some experience. That the folks that were with us, were very all 4 of us, well, 3 of them and me, were very capable, and we were able to make the situation work. But I got to tell you, it was cold and it was scary.
Yeah, Jet, anybody have anything they had to apologize for later? Because I can imagine tempers probably ran kind of short.
Yeah, actually, yeah, we there were a few things that needed to apologize. Some of the language might have been not fit for replay. Um, and dropping the barbecue in the cockpit, that was just not acceptable. That barbecue was good, man. We worked hard on making that the night before, and but we were
Well,
lucky. We were very lucky. We did catch some real nice sea bass. That season in Virginia is now closed. Tautog season is open. I think that closes in May through August down in Virginia. And I've talked to some people that have been fishing the wrecks in the bay, and they've been doing pretty well. They've been doing pretty well, bringing some crabs and some other cut bait in from away.
guys, if you have questions, we do still have about 6 minutes to ask your questions, and the questions will go. The winner of the question of the night will get $25 off a pair of these amazing, and Captain Marshall can attest to these, the
Yeah.
quality of hook optics. Um, so bring the questions in. They don't have to be safety related. If you guys just want to talk
we
fishing,
were
that's fine as well.
we were catching those sea bass, Grant, on metal jigs, but we were catching them on. We're using about a 6 to 8 ounce metal jig. I was using a crippled herring because I'm very partial to those. I think Kyle and some other guys were using I don't know what it was, but it had a treble hook, a diamond jig with a treble hook on it. We did really well, multiple hooks. And like I said, the sea bass were up to 6 pounds, and they're absolutely delicious.
I was going to ask that. I was like, did you, throughout all the mayhem, you're able to get the sea bass back in, right?
Oh, they never left the boat.
They must have tasted. They must have tasted extra good.
They really were. Yeah, I've eaten sea bass, fresh sea bass fillets every night thus far since Sunday. I will not freeze that, and that's 15 bass a man. I'm gonna eat them till they're gone because these were extra special. That's for sure. That's
What's the
extra
keeper
special.
size for the sea bass in the ocean?
13 inches. 13 inches. And a 13-inch fish might weigh a pound or so. And like I say, I tried to get some pictures earlier today, but I got sidetracked. We were catching them. I think our big just over 6. Was just over 6 pounds, which is a nice sea bass. We caught a lot of them.
It's a pretty good sized fish. We got some questions rolling in. John Abbott, I guess this is eligible for question of the night. It's more trash talk than a question.
Great question.
Will CL and I catch the first black drum of the season?
Odds are it's going to be one of us. You know how I am. I'm definitely going to put my money on me, but you never know.
Captain Marshall, Black Drum used to, and maybe they still do, and I'm just out of the loop, used to push all the way up to the Chesapeake Bay Bridge.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard or seen anybody, and again, maybe I missed something. I haven't heard or seen anybody catching them this far north. How far north do you catch black drum?
I catch them in the Pocomoke sign. I do. That's where I fish for him. And John knows. He's right there beside me most nights. He's right there with me. We've got a little honey hole where we come across them in some shallow water, which is where we find them first. Historically, we've always caught them, on the shallow grassy flats early. There's a smaller fish, the male fish, catching those on cut hard crabs. And I really like catching those. They're delicious. They lack the worms and stuff. We'll do that. I know they used to catch them up so you've got an area called Stone Rock up there on the upper bay, and they usually catch them there. And I think it's more of a spot and stalk type thing for those guys. Okay. John and I and the rest of us, in the Pocomoke, we'll catch them down in some deeper water, in June, in May and June. We'll go down in some deeper water to the south a little bit and catch some there. But they reappear again in October on the shallow water. On the shallow water rock piles. Your traditional oyster rocks. They appear there again in October. So black drum fishery is alive and well. There's some the spring fishery for the smaller ones is kind of what we like to do, because the table fares much better than some of the bigger.
Ever get any? You talked about the shallow water fishing. Do you ever get any of the big females in that shallow water? Because I can only imagine how that fight would be.
No, it's generally the males. Yeah, it's generally the smaller males because we're catching them so early, and I suspect that we could probably catch them anytime if we could just get out there. With me, I've got the windshield off my boat. I just had it powder coated, and this Motorsports did that for me. I had Marva Auto Glass put the glass back in for me. I just got that, and I think tomorrow the helm will go back on her. And with that, I think I'm pretty well ready to go. I'm looking forward to it. So maybe first part of the week, in the middle of next week, maybe this weekend.
Honestly,
this weekend.
I've been daydreaming about shorts and flip-flops up in the skinny water fishing for whatever, what I'm talking about. That summer fishing. I love it.
Yeah.
I know you can catch some big rockfish in the winter, but to me, I'm from Georgia, and to me, fishing is sunny, hot weather, everything's sticking together, and and you're up in skinny water.
Yeah, we're looking for. I'm thinking that maybe next week we'll get out. We might find some. I'm hoping so. I know the water temperature's up right at 50 in the Pocomoke Sound, and I've talked to a couple people down below me a little bit. the guys that are fishing cut channel with those eels, they're still catching big rockfish on a daily basis. So I think things are going to be a little bit early this year.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it has to do with the length of sunlight in the day as much as it does water temp. So I'm getting close, man. Last year we caught our first one on the 27th. I'd like to catch the first one this year, a week before. I don't see that out of the realm of ordinary.
Yeah, I want to get to these other two audience questions,
Yeah.
but you fished this region for quite a while. Do you remember a warm winter like we've had, and how that affected the bite for spring and summer?
Yeah, last time we had something like this, speckled trout fishing was amazing, and I'm hoping that happens. Yeah, I know. Wouldn't
Oh
that
man,
wouldn't that be cool? That was good, and and the puppy drum was good as well. It can't hurt, because if anything, the crabs and the forage species, they kind of had a little bit of a break. They didn't take as much of a beating as possibly they would if it was really just this blue ball cold. So I'm hoping that helps a little bit. Are the fish out there? Probably, yeah, they're right there. Just getting them to hang out in their area and stick around, I think is a big part of it as well. And by increased forage species, I think maybe that'll help happen.
Carl Ward asked, CL, what's the perch run like in your area? Are the whites running hard yet?
No, they're not running real hard. It's just starting though. It's just starting. And thankfully, a couple of my buddies have been commercial fishing for the blue channel cats, and which, by the way, it's invasive species month, I do believe. So, eat a blue catfish if you get a chance because they are delicious. But they've been pulling a lot of these blue channel cats out of the rivers that we normally perch fish in. I mean, tens of thousands of pounds of them are being removed on a weekly basis. So that's a good thing. Uh, the perch run hasn't really started yet. Uh, there's a few being caught. But not in the numbers that they will be caught probably next week.
All right, and we got one more question coming in from Rodney. He said, "Did the customers have to pay for the trip that scary day?"
Robbie, that's a great question. It was just me and three of my friends. That was a fun trip. I'm not sure how I would have handled that. I know this. I know that when we got home, when we got in, the four of us were very thankful and very appreciative of all the people that lended a hand in getting us there. And we didn't have to call for help or anything, but there were a lot of people standing by. There was a lot of people that were watching and monitoring what we were doing, both civilian and otherwise. So for that, we're very grateful.
Yeah, and Lady C chimed in. That her and I had a situation like that a few years ago. And man, it really does. Like, you don't wish that on anyone, but it does help you kind of put things into perspective a little bit. And
Yeah, it really does. And I can't stress it enough because there's so many times we take it for granted. Our safety equipment. Yeah, we've got the bare minimum that the DNR requires us to have, but that's cool. And it's that is the bare minimum. But there's so much other thing. There's so many other things out there that can make a bad situation much better. For a minimal amount of money. So, I can't stress it enough. And go over your stuff, check it. Make sure there's life jackets fit. Make sure the clips work. Make sure that your flares, even don't take this wrong, but even if they're out of date, make sure they're in good shape. So if you need them, you can use them. I keep my old ones for a couple years after, because shit, they come in a 6-pack and or a 4-pack, and what's wrong with having 8?
Right. Having extras. Um, so yeah, let's go ahead and do question of the night, and then I want to talk about, since the season's getting ready to go, and the Mako is almost ready to probably jump out of the shop. It's so ready to fish. I
Yeah.
want to talk about how someone can book a trip with you. But before we get to that, we had 3 questions. We had John's question, we had Carl, and then we had Rodney Green. Which one of those is going to get $25 off on a pair of Hook Optic sunglasses?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with John's question because that to me sounds like it might be a little side bet involved, So I'm gonna run with that. John Abbott's a great fisherman. He does a great hunter. He's a good man, a good friend of our family. And listen, and by the way, in my new book, Chesapeake Bay Adventures, Tales from the Eastern Shore, that's out. A lot of the photographs were taken by John's son.
Oh,
So
that's awesome. Do you have
yeah,
that book on hand that you can show us real quick? Because it's a
I
beautiful looking book.
I do, but yeah, for those of you who have bought it, take a look at the pictures. It's all Caleb and his buddies, Ethan Peterson and Kyle Bowman and all those guys. They got a little company called Locked In Productions, and I had a guy today that told me how nice the photos were in that book. Yeah, I got one right here. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, the talking about it doesn't do it justice. Just looking at the
Oh,
book is beautiful.
look,
I mean, high
see that?
quality photos.
See that ugly dude right there?
Yeah,
That is John Abbott.
there he is.
Yeah, that fish looks a lot better than he does, man.
Oh, I thought the fish was him. I was like, who's that guy holding John Abbott?
I don't know, man. That fish had a better looking face than John.
Yeah. All right. Well, John, send us an email at admin@thefishingchannel.net to give us your contact information, and we'll make sure you get the gift certificate from. I'm typing that in right now for you. I don't have a moderator tonight. So you can get that gift certificate. But your book, where's that available?
Wow. It's available anywhere books are sold right now. You should be able to pick them up at virtually any bookstore. You can buy them on Amazon. You can buy them basically any. I need to get them in the accurate gallerias is what I need to do. I need to put them there. I'll work on that this week.
Nikki
But
runs a tight ship at those places. I mean, every spot of those stores is used for something. So that might be
yeah,
a tough ask, but I mean, it's a beautiful
well,
book. It'll look nice.
I'm gonna find a 6x9. It's used as an eye chart or something. I don't know, but yeah, you can buy them anywhere books are sold. Schedule wise, I'll be in. Well, this weekend I'm doing something with the wife, so we're off this weekend. Next weekend we'll be in a Nancock at Mallard's Restaurant. I'm cooking some rockfish out of my cookbook there, Eastern Shore style. We're doing a fried oysters and an oyster stew down there. Selling books there as well. That's on the 10th. On the 11th, we'll be down at Back Bay, Knott's Island at the Waterfowl Festival there. Look forward to going to that show each year. We'll be there as well, booking some charter trips and selling some books. So if you're down that way, if you find yourself in downtown Creeds on Saturday, come see me. We'll be there.
Nice. Well, we are out of time. John, we will get, my comment didn't come up for some reason, but admin@thefishingchannel.net. Shoot us your contact information. Captain Marshall, it's been a blast as always. Thank you so much. Thanks for everyone that tuned in, and we'll see you in a few minutes on our next report. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I know this wasn't your typical fishing show, but that safety message is something that we need to drive home because without some of that stuff, we may not be having this conversation today.
Yeah, agreed. And we want you here. So keep
I want to be
keep being safe and keep sending the message because it's super important.
Yes. But
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you.
All right.